Hello, everyone. I guess where there's a will, there's always a way. And it's interesting because then today we are talking about Women's Equality Day. And as women, throughout our lives, we've had to work, I think even harder. We've had to be creative of how we do things and how we make things happen. Probably that's the best word, how we make things happen. And today's live, as I was trying by all means at every cost to try and join, it's almost like nothing has been working. So then I'm sitting here at the computer and I'm trying everything. So instead of me being frustrated, I thought, you know what? I was supposed to, and I'm supposed to say something today about moving forward with women's equality. Where do we go from here? How do we move forward? And that's the part that I'm talking about, because we've had two great speakers that have talked about the beginning of women's equality, why it was even created and why we started making noise on wanting equality. And then we had to talk about the current status of women's equality. And now I'm taking the baton and moving us forward. What does it take for us to move forward, even though we don't have 100% equality? What I can say is it's not the same as it was yesterday. It's not the same as it was back in the 1910s and 20s, 30s, 40s, even in the 60s when I was born. So what do we need to do? Ladies, we need to become fearless. We need to believe in ourselves. We also need to be open to explore whatever windows are open. So here's what happened. When the movement started on women's equality, windows started opening up just a little bit. Ceilings started to be broken just a little bit, right? Until in some places, in some phases, the ceilings is crashed. I mean, we literally crashed the ceiling. But we've got to understand that just sitting there and waiting for everything to be served on a platter for us, it's not going to happen. So we have to get up. We have to have the courage to explore how we can maneuver and use what is there and available for us, rather than stand in and want more to open up so that we can start showing up. So that gets me to that topic. We have to show up. And how do you get to show up might be the question. So let's first explore some of the things that get in the way of people not being able to show up and do the things that they want to do in life, and also take advantage of what's available for women, the opportunities that are there. The first thing that I came across with is many of us sometimes live in the past. We tend to hold on to what was. And you know what? As women, we haven't been paid equal pay. We're not allowed to open businesses the same way that men have. We don't have the same the platforms as men have. So then we start thinking about what it was in the past, and we get stuck with thoughts, feelings, emotions of the past. And that's one thing that might get in the way of leveling up or shifting up or moving up. We also sometimes expect things to come easy. Hey, the world owes us, right? And, they owe us to respect us and to acknowledge that we are capable and able of doing most everything, if not, almost everything that a man does, right? So then, we sometimes expect it to come easy for the doors to open so that, we can just gently walk through the doors and, gently create success in whatever capacity that we have. And that sometimes, doesn't work. And then many a time, many women will wait for the perfect moment. Like I said, with this live today, thank Heather for it, because then she didn't wait until everything is perfect. Everything didn't work out, but she didn't wait for that. So what she did was, she did the best that she could until we realized that, listen, this is an opportunity for us to just make it happen no matter what. So I hope that you'll be able to watch this video, as a part of the live that was being done today, that this is the third part of it, and we're still doing it. So I'm recording it so that it can be posted on the page and that you can see it. Many women will wait for the perfect moment. And trust me, I have waited for the perfect moment many a time in my life. I have waited for the time that it might be easier for me to do something. And guess what? Whilst I'm waiting for the perfect moment, I was getting older. Things were changing. And I knew that at some point I've got to get up and I've got to have the courage to just do it anyway. So instead of waiting for that perfect moment, that maybe you're one of those people that is waiting for that perfect moment. How about you make the moment perfect for yourself, whatever it is that you're going after? So my question to you is there something that you probably, you're probably listening to the three speakers today and you're saying, I would love to share my story. I want to be a speaker, but I don't know if I can ever do that. Yes, you can. We all have been there where we had to start somewhere. And you know what? We had to learn how to show up this way. We had to learn to build that confidence to come to any audience and tell our story. Is it scary? Of course, it's scary. It's scary every time that you come up in, before a new audience, before, a new stage that you're getting on. It is scary. But once you do it over and over and over again, to everybody else that's watching, it just appears to be so smooth and just so easy, like, oh, they look like they were born to do this. That's how easy that it looks. But nobody is born doing anything or knowing anything. Everything is learned and everything, becomes perfected with experience. The other thing that gets in the way of people taking advantage of this equality that, we are starting to get and to get to see, even though it's not 100%, there is some capacity that women are doing way better, that doors are open, more doors are open for women, more doors than before, that we need to take advantage of the doors right now. But I'm talking about some of the things that might prevent you and I from taking advantage of that. Doubting your awesomeness. Let me say that one again. Doubting your awesomeness. Here's the thing. I'm sure you probably can hear an accent. And I didn't even introduce myself because I was just like, so flabbergasted by not being able to get on the live that I thought, okay, quick, what can I do? Let me do this here. So in case you can hear an accent, which I'm sure you can, I'm originally from Zimbabwe. So the full name is Stembile Mahlatini, and I go by DrStem, STEM. But I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I've been in the United States for over 30 years now that I've been here. It has not been an easy journey. And whenever I talk about, doubting your awesomeness, I'm reminded of my story when I first came here in the 80s. And when I first went into school, started working part-time whilst I was in school, I remember people asking me to repeat myself so many times that at first, right, I was just repeating myself because I was just excited to be in the United States. So repeating myself was not even something that bothered me, right? Until I realized that, boy, am I always having, will I always have to explain myself, repeat myself? Because now it was getting old, as I did it over and over again. And what I realized that every time somebody asked me to repeat myself, somebody asked me to even spell my whole name, I was getting more and more scared that maybe I wasn't good enough. That's why they're not listening to me. That's why they're not understanding me. That's why maybe I have a weird name that is different. But then people would say, you have an accent. And I mean, I know I have an accent. But then with that accent, they're like, we don't understand you. So, can you slow down so that we can understand you? So I started slowing down. And then once I was slowing down, they started saying, well, pronounce these words this way. I started learning how to pronounce the words in a different way. I'm coming from Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe is British colonized. So our English as you know, Zimbabweans, is sounding more English, European English, because we were British colonized. So the teachers that taught us were from, you know, Europe, from England, right? So then you come to America and they're like, well, you know, the way you're pronouncing this word, try and pronounce it this way. So here I went and I tried to pronounce it the way that they were saying that I should pronounce it, right? And I got more frustrated because now I wasn't myself. I wasn't being, you know, the Stembile. That's how you pronounce my full name. The Stembile that I am. I couldn't be that, right? So I finished my associate degree and, you know, bachelor's degrees. When I finished those, right, I was still struggling onto what do I do, you know, as work, as part of work. I'm a person that loves working with people. I'm a person that loved helping people. So the part-time job that I was doing whilst I was going to school was a nurse's aide in a nursing home. And I just loved every part of, you know, doing that work, because I was working with elderly that were now vulnerable, sitting in nursing homes, but were depending on people like myself and the other aides to help them to even get up, get to the bathroom, eat, and do the things that you and I take for granted. And, you know, I mean, they couldn't even depend on, you know, some other people, because then many of them would complain that if I ask this person, you know, they have an attitude, or, you know, the way that they come, which means they're not coming in with an open heart, with a caring heart, right? And that broke my heart, because then I always thought about it to say, you know, if they can sit here and be in this place, one of these days, I too will be in that space. My mother, my father, or a relative, a loved one will sit in that place. So if I do good and I can take care of them in a good way that they can be appreciative of having that help, then I know without a shadow of a doubt that I too will have somebody who will take care of me when I am in that phase in a nice way and not be frustrated. My parents would also get from, you know, I mean, far away from me, because, you know, they're in Zimbabwe. My dad is in Zimbabwe and my mom is here in the United States. That they too will get people that will take care of them and love them in the same way that I have taken care of other people. That has been my heart, and that's the same way that I bring when I do the work that I'm doing. I am a therapist, you know, psychotherapist. I'm also a life career coach and a business coach. The way that I do this work has been to help other people to not, you know, get stuck in what other people want for you, to not get stuck in the stories that we have heard and built that have not worked, that, you know, prevents us from being our awesomeness. So guess when I started being awesome and understanding that I am awesome, my accent is so cool, and people do understand me, and I just have to be myself, and people will figure out a way and work through getting to understand me and understand the things that, you know, I'm doing. Today, 30 something years later, not one person has asked me to repeat myself or tell me that they don't understand me. So below this video, I want you to make a comment and let me know if at all you're struggling to understand what I'm saying, or you're struggling to understand this accent. What I did was I worked at the Department of Juvenile Justice once I finished my master's degree. I started off as a social worker, DJJ Justice, working with juveniles in the who are in the system. I started off as a social worker, and I was promoted into doing quality assurance. Quality assurance, I was monitoring people that have contracts to take care of the children that are in the custody of the Department of Juvenile Justice. When I was there, I would go to the facilities, and I'm the lead, you know, quality reviewer, and then I would have to write a report, which were like 30 plus pages. Every time that I wrote my reports, my boss made sure that she circled everything. Remember, now I have an accent, plus my English is not that good, and I'll tell you that, you know, I mean, I could write. But this business of your sentences are running, you're running sentences, and, you know, I mean, they are long, you're prolonging the statement sentence, you need to condense it in it. I mean, it was just like, every time I turned around, my reports were like red, like I was in kindergarten. So I would cry all the time and say, but I'm writing and I'm doing the best that I can to explain what was said. And, I would take dictionaries and write this, but never. I worked there for 2 years and nothing was ever good enough to just come in as a good report, right? So what I did was I started writing, because then I thought, well, if she's saying she doesn't understand and my English is not good that I'm writing on the reports, let me write and ask the world if I'm making sense and if they can understand what I'm, writing. So guess what? I wrote a book, and my book is probably still the first 3 books that I wrote as